There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? It's money everywhere. It's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino is the Name. Hey, yo, what's going on right now? You're watching Casino is the Name, and I'm sitting here with my brother. It's my brother Daniel. Same dad. This is my blood brother.
That's right.
And my brother is a 100% disabled veteran. So in this video, you know, he had a few things that he thought that you guys should know about your VA claim and things like that. So with no further ado, let's get started. Okay. So what will be one of the main things that you want people to know about the VA claim?
Basically, that filing a claim isn't as difficult as people think. And I guess to move further along with that is that make sure you have all the documentation that you need to get your file claim. If you don't have that documentation, wherever you may have visited any medical facility, that you can actually retrieve that information from them. Say if it's a government facility or if you're still in the military, make sure you get everything documented. You have a headache, get it documented. If you think, well, you know, it's just a headache, it could be considered migraine. If it's stopping you from performing whatever your job is on a daily basis or, you know, once or twice a month or whatever the case may be, then you need to definitely get it documented. Another thing that I realized is that you'll go to civilian doctors and it may be something that was actually caused by an injury that you sustained while on active duty, but you don't think that that injury, you know, that you're going to your civilian doctor for is related to something that happened on active or on your active status, or whether you were drilling, reserve, or active full time.
Okay. So what I realized when I was in was that it was like a negative stigma to kind of like go to the doctor or whatever like that at the time. So a lot of people weren't going and getting seen and getting that stuff documented because they didn't want to appear soft or whatever that kind of thing was. But that's kind of the opposite of what you should do. Go get your stuff documented. You don't know how many years before that thing reoccurs, you hurt your back, and you could just be moving some things around at home, and but you're still on active duty status, and you know you hurt your back moving some stuff around at home, and 5 years down the line, now you're having back issues, but because you didn't go and get seen while you were still in, you can't get service connected because, you know, now you're no longer in. Correct. And it's 5 years later, they don't see where it's connected to where you were in the military. A lot of people think that you had to be, I guess, like sustain an injury while you were in your military uniform, actually at work, you know, doing stuff on the flight line or, correct, you know, wherever you work at or whatever. But no, it's just any time that something happened to you while you were on active duty status, that's what covers you as being service connected. Right. But you still got to go get seen. So did you have any things that that you wish you had got service connected, like that you wish you had went and got seen for while you were in, that you didn't find out until you got out? That
I would say pretty much kind of how you described it in that sense. But for me, I think it was dealing with my back. So I injured my back years ago, active duty, when I was stationed at Fort Campbell in Kentucky. So we did a lot of road marches, a lot of running and stuff like that, where I went to air assault school. So I had to do first we did like a 3-mile road march. Then we did a 6-mile. And ultimately, to pass the course, you had to do a 12-mile road march with all of the gear on the packing list that they have in order for you know to pass that road march, that 12-mile. And you had to do it within a 3-hour period. So completed the 3-hour period, and I realized that after that I was having some back issues. So of course I went to sick call, but didn't really think anything big on it. Of course, you know, the military, they always pump you up with what? Right. 1,800?
Yeah, Motrin.
That's it. So got that, never thought about physical therapy or maybe it's something, you know, a little bit deeper. So I didn't do anything else with it, you know, kind of just left it at that. And throughout the years, going to Iraq where we had to wear the IBA, with the extra plates in it. So imagine you carrying about additional 60 pounds or more on your person, on your body. So that right there started playing toll on my back, my lower back. So I ended up receiving a claim for a lumbar strain, which VA gave me 60%. I mean, I'm sorry, I'm about to lie. They gave me 10% for that claim. Come to find out later, that was another thing that helped me kind of got to my 100%. Well, I ended up having a hip issue. See, the hip, I didn't injure my hip on active duty, but the hip injury was a secondary to my lumbar strain. So that lumbar strain caused me to shift my weight a certain way, which additionally caused me to have a hip injury. So that was a secondary claim to my primary claim to my lumbar strain.
Right. So you can basically say you hurt your back, that's and you have that documented from being in the military, but then you know, because maybe your back is hurting, you do other things to compensate for that.
Correct.
It causes you to sleep a certain kind of way. So then it causes you to hurt another part of your body, or overuse or underuse another part of your body. And you start having issues with that part of your body. That then can also be claimed as a secondary condition to your primary condition, which opens up a whole different world.
Yeah.
Because in his 10%, because I'm 80% disabled, he's 100% disabled. I'm trying to get my stuff together, like, but so like with his situation, they love giving out the 10% for the lumbar. I got 10% as well for my lumbar, but his secondary condition took his 10%, which is his primary condition, to what, 40%?
40%, yes.
So his 10% for his main issue turned into a 40% combined with the additional second part to it.
Correct.
So, you know, that's a huge importance because it's all kinds of things. I have a right knee service connection, and now I have a left knee service connection, so now my right knee is hurting. So that's a bilateral condition. So that's a whole other kind of thing out there that a lot of us don't know about, you know.
And I think that's the biggest thing too that we've been taught. When you think about it, let's go back to basic training. Right, basic training. You talk to be, you know, for us soldier, you know, your branch, you know, of course, you know, we won't talk about that, you know, but no, you know, we always pick at each other about it. But I tell them he's smarter, so of course, you know, Air Force. Hey, what can we say? But to be honest, you know, you started me off with this this VA claim stuff because I think at the time I had maybe 30%, 40%, something like that. And we got into this discussion where he was explaining a lot of like, well, hey, bro, you know about the VA this, and you file your claim. He said, bro, you better go ahead and file your claim. So I started researching, started learning a little bit more. And then I realized that certain claims had secondary conditions to them. But I'll go back to the basic training where I was talking about, where you've been trained to push through the pain. I remember me going through basic training. If you could almost break your ankle and they say drink water, you're dehydrated. You know, you didn't drink enough water. That's why you sprain your ankle. Or you have headaches. Oh, you didn't drink enough water.
Right.
So headaches, just imagine you could have had not necessarily heat stroke, but you could be, we call them heat casualty. So heat exhaustion. You could be at heat exhaustion, which that could be a claim as well. But because you don't know all of these things and you've been taught by the drill sergeants to kind of push through it, that's the mindset that we have as military service members, to push through whatever the pain is, the injuries that we have. So what ended up happening? We continue on our career, like I was talking about my back. Had I probably gotten some type of physical therapy like my first 3 years in, who knows if my back would be in the condition that it's in now. Right. But because we don't know that, and really we're not getting everything documented because they're telling us to push on through it. And pretty much the stigma that you say that people don't want to be looked at as, oh, you always going to sick call, you're always going to the doctor, you never come to work. Right. But if you have an injury, if you're hurt, go. It doesn't matter if it's something as small as, you know what I'm saying, you sprain your big toe. Right. Documentation beats conversation. Right. So you can sit here and talk about, I remember when I was in basic training, you know what I'm saying, I sprained my ankle. Did you go to the doctor? We talking about it. You're giving me the conversation about you spraining your ankle then, but what documentation do you have? Yeah. So the key is the documentation of everything to make sure that you set yourself up for the future. Yeah. What's crazy is when you talk about basic training is I banged my knee on one of the end of the beds. Yeah.
all those years ago, and over time, it
It's
just
gotten worse.
yeah. So it swell up every now
Right,
and then,
right.
whatever. But then the other knee started hurting because I'm using it, I'm overusing
To
it
compensate for that other, yeah.
So then I started having even more issues out of the other side.
Right.
But like, I never though in like maybe in a 10-year time frame while being in, I didn't even think about claiming that and getting a percentage for it,
But who does?
or that it would even be bad enough for me to. I had to go through physical therapy. I had to go through all kind of stuff to like. I was on crutches at one point.
Right,
like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? But and don't get me wrong, we were still running on those same leaves
absolutely.
while they banged
Absolutely.
up and all of that kind of stuff.
Because what you've been taught to do.
And
but what have you been taught to do?
Right.
I mean,
push through.
We're not trained to be weak. We're trained to be strong. We're trained, because we have to complete the mission. Yeah. Everything is the mission first, right? So, that little headache you have, that's irrelevant. Mission first.
Yeah.
So,
and then over time, and as we get older, on top of that, right? But over time, those injuries that we sustained when we were superhuman, just about, because we were just young. As you continue to like pound on those things, we have to run sometimes.
Right.
We have to carry rucksacks sometimes. We have to do PT tests. We got to do all these different things or whatever. And you're just steady pounding and pounding on those body parts. Correct. Unlike regular civilians who aren't required to run. We're literally required to work out or run for our job. If you fail those PT tests, they will take your job away. You will get put out the military. So
that's your money. Exactly. That's how you get paid.
Yeah. If you're hurt and you work in an office job and you hurt your knee, you can just still keep your job even though your knee is hurt. But for us, we were, forced to still deal with those kind of things. So we just push through. So now as we get older and you start looking at like, man, I ain't able to do the things I needed to, need to do now. You may have to have surgery or whatever else. Right. And they'll pay for it if you service connected it. But so many of us just never claimed. I know somebody who was in for 27 years and really had nothing in their service record, but they'd have been in wars and all kind of stuff like that. And now they're like, yo, I should have went, back then, but I just felt like I'd be looked at like a person, but like, bro, you can jump out planes.
Right. Banging up your knees, hitting the ground.
Yeah, the gravity being pulled on your body, like, bro, like, you got to take care of yourself at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
You got to look out for yourself. So, okay, let's talk about the money, right? Mm-hmm. So, what advantages come from being 100% disabled veteran? Besides, the obvious more money, but
your home, no taxes. Like,
no taxes on your home.
Yeah, the taxes on your home. No Avalon tax on your vehicle. Your tags stuff is free as well.
Okay, free tags.
I mean, it's so many. Of course, we're in the state of Georgia, so
right. So it's gonna be state specific.
Yeah, it's state specific in terms of what that state allows. I heard Texas is pretty good to their veterans.
I heard Texas is great.
Yeah, I heard they're great. I can't really speak on what all they do for them, but I went to the tax office for my vehicle. Well, the tag office, and then I went to the tax office for my my taxes on my home. So the homestead. So they said, I'm zeroed out.
So basically, when you buy a home, and even if you pay your home off, you still have to pay property taxes on that home, right? So let's say you have a mortgage. Your mortgage is going to be the principal and interest that you pay back to the bank for the bank loan, but then they also incorporate insurance as well as property taxes, which can boost your mortgage, which will boost your mortgage up maybe $100, $200, $300 a month.
Yes.
Some people's I've been seeing about $4,000 or so per year for a lot of people I've been looking at, they in between like $3,200 and like $5,200 a month. I mean, not a month, but a year in property taxes.
Right.
So once his home is paid off, and even currently, his property taxes have been zeroed out, so he won't ever have to pay property taxes so long as he owns a home in Georgia. So that's a huge couple $1,000s right there per year benefit. And then once his home is paid off, a lot of people lose their houses. Because even if they get it paid off, in 30 years, they still have to pay those property taxes. And some people still lose their homes due to property taxes.
Correct.
And he won't even incur the charges for property taxes. So it's a huge benefit. And when you, especially when you say $4,000 times 10 years is 40,000, right? And you're looking at a 30-year commitment. You know, like we're talking like 100 and some thousand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then even moving forward beyond that, so it's a huge benefit to being 100% disabled veteran and getting your property taxes waived or whatever. But on top of that, you know, the money is different. Okay, the money is a huge jump from say where I'm at 80% to where he is. You know, and on average, what do you say that would be per year? 100%.
Probably roughly like 40.
About $40,000. $40,000 tax free and
36 to 40, I guess.
36 to,
it could be like 30.
Depending on if you're married, you got kids.
Maybe like 43, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so about 36 to about 43.
Yeah.
Okay. So that right at $40,000 plus property taxes benefit if you own a house. Medical expenses.
I have none.
No medical expenses. You can't beat that. Like,
and then dental as well.
Can't beat that. And actually,
you get dental.
You get the free medical at 50. I think at least at 50%.
Right.
Because I'm at 50. I'm at 80%, and I wouldn't if I didn't have my son.
That's another thing too that a lot of people don't understand too, with being like I said, a certain percentage that they have the community care where you can go to any I guess it's like urgent care that's tied into the community care where whatever it is. So a lot of people think they have to go to the emergency room or stuff like that. But let's say you have a cold, flu, or you injured yourself or something like that. You can actually go to a community care that's linked to the VA. And I can't remember the website, but if you search VA community care, like urgent care places that you can go, you should be able to find places that you can actually go. Yeah. So, and that's not even being at 100%. I think once you get to 50%, but a lot of people don't know about that information either.
Yeah. So, and that's mainly the reason why we're doing this video. He has made this his mission to learn as much as he can. He knows so much, which is, like he said in the beginning, I actually was the one who started him on this journey, right? Because I was like, bro, you know, you done been to war, you did this, I ain't did all that, and I already had a higher percentage than him.
Than what I had, yeah.
So I was like, yo, bro, you really need to. So now that he's 100%, he knows so much. He's well read in this like subject topic. He's been helping other people get their ratings up.
Yeah, that's what I'm focused on now.
One of his friends just got his 100% this week.
Yes, correct.
And so, you know, he's just trying to help as many veterans as possible. So if it's okay with him, I don't know if I'm gonna put your email or what's in the link.
Okay.
But you know, if you got one or two questions, don't go crazy. Okay. If you got a couple questions, you're trying to get your rating up, you know, trying to get your claim submitted, because he finna help me with mine. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So that's how we finna do that. But you got any questions, you know, I'll pass them on to him, or you know, you can reach out to him.
One more thing though.
Okay, go ahead.
VA.gov. Make sure you have a VA.gov login. Whether you're using, if you already have My Health Vet or My Healthy Vet, you can use that as a login on VA.gov. That is where you can go in now, because I heard talk of e-benefits going away and everything is getting shifted over to VA.gov. And also the other part is that you can use DS login, you create a DS login, or you can create an ID Me login as well. And do that way, that kind of can better, you know, help if I'm helping you with whatever you're doing or you're doing it yourself. Right. And I'm not saying that it's an easy process, but it's not as complicated as people make it seem, because people saying, well, you have to go to the VA. And the one thing that I hate that people do, people tell you to file your claim, right? Hey, you need to file your VA claim. You need to file a claim, right? But they're not telling you what else you need to do. Just telling the person they need to file a claim really doesn't do much for them. Make sure you have proper documentation. Like if you have some of your medical documentation and you may not have the rest of it, you can still file that claim, and whatever hospital or treatment facility that you went to, you can request to get that information from that facility. So I was in South Carolina, and I'm kind of, I don't mind being, you know, a little personal. I'll tell you about my situation, because I'm actually getting ready to go through a medical board. I went to the MIF there, to the hospital there. I was going to see, behavior health, mental health, whichever one you want to call it, because that's another thing too. A lot of veterans don't want to bring up the fact of that dealing with things, not sleeping at night, having insomnia.
I got insomnia.
Yeah, it's
We got
weird.
insomnia.
I mean, it's one of those things that the stigma of that no one wants to be called crazy, right? No one want to deal with it, but it's really not as bad as, or it's not as in depth in terms of like how you will be looked at if you file a PTSD claim, or you're dealing with anxiety, or depression, or all that stuff there, because it all comes with what we do.
Right.
We're trained to withstand so much stress and really don't have an outlet other than drinking, which it's a class 6 or something like that almost on every corner on the base. Shop at alcohol there 24 hours a day. So,
and it's cheap.
That's it. That's the other part. And what's the one thing that we do as a pastime in the military? We drink. So I was drinking to go to sleep. So once I started going to the VA, they were saying, okay, is this, is that? Oh no. And one of my buddies who I went to Iraq with, he was like, P, I'm telling you, you need to go to the VA. He said, I'm telling you, you need to go. And I was like, nah, man, I'm good, man. What you talking about? I was working in law enforcement. I remember coming back. I went to mandate, so I'm out on patrol. And I was having migraines at night, having headaches. I was taking Excedrin. I'd take 2 or 3 Excedrins a night on my shift. I would get off that morning, and at the time, I was drinking Grey Goose like they couldn't make enough. His brothers tell you, I had a big bottle. I would have the big bottle of Grey Goose.
Always have a huge bottle.
Always have a huge bottle.
Not like a regular bottle, like a bottle. Like,
yeah, that was that liter. The liter bottle. At that time. So I would get that, and when I would get off that morning, I worked from 6 to 6. So we had to be there at 5:30 for roll call, but I would get off 6 in the morning, and when I would get home, I never understood. I said I never understood how a person could drink so early in the morning until I started working that night shift. Having, we call it tone outs. The tone outs I would have anxiety, almost like my stomach would drop when I hear a tone out, because I didn't know what was happening. And it reminded me so much of the sirens in Iraq. So when I would hear the tone out, it was like my heart would speed up.
Is that tone out from work?
It worked at the sheriff department. So that means that something bad was happening, whether it was a robbery, whether it was a shooting, something like that. So it was basically to cut all communications, where everybody just stopped and just listened to what was going on. So that's what the tone out would be.
Gotcha.
So it was kind of the same thing in Iraq. Whenever we would get bombed, it would be these sirens that would go off. So it almost kind of put me back to that. So I started dealing with that anxiety, the PTSD. A vehicle on the side of the road, on the right shoulder, I would move all the way to the left shoulder. I'm going on an overpass. I'm thinking something gonna explode. I'm thinking the vehicle parked on the side of the road, maybe a VB, all kind of stuff like that. When I go to the restaurant to eat, I'm sitting facing the door. All these things. And the shirt that I'm wearing is actually Emory here in Atlanta. They have a program, the Wounded Warrior program has this program for veterans who have TBI, who are dealing with PTSD or any type of injuries, and help you kind of like reintegrate back into the community or society, which help you kind of deal with some of your stressors and kind of retrain your mind, to help you kind of retrain your mind to let you know that you're not still in that combat environment or that hostile environment. So that way it kind of help you better deal with things, whether it's arguing at home with your spouse or family and dealing with that type thing and having anxiety, or isolating yourself from your family and they really don't know how to deal with it or deal with you. So it helped with that. So I'm telling you that, please get it documented. Start going to see someone. Right. Don't let it be something that causes you to go on and not be able to kind of get on track with your regular day-to-day life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great information. So, and is that the only program you went through? Just curious.
Yeah, that's the only program that I went to.
PTSD 101.
Okay.
At the VA. So
see, I think at the time the VA, like, they were trying to get me to go through this intense program, and the program I went to was 2 weeks. Matter of fact, it was a couple of people, somebody there from, I think he was from Kansas, and they paid for his travel. I mean, he drove, they paid him mileage. Mm-hmm. And it was a female there from California, from Los Angeles. I think they paid for her travel to come as well, and they put us in the hotel, and then they gave us a stipend for food as well.
Okay.
Or like gift cards so we can use for food. So the trip is paid for. You're not paying for anything, but I say definitely, get into the program.
For sure.
And I'll try to get you the information so that way, like I said, you can at least put the link.
Try and put some of the information as we get it. So the first time you see this, we may not have that in yet, but we're gonna definitely try and get to it. Anyway, right now you watching Casino Is a Name, and I'm gonna put his info in the bottom, man. Like, share, comment, and subscribe, man, and we out.
Y'all take care.
Hey, yo, what's going on? Right now you're watching Casino Is the Name, and if you want to know how I started my trucking business, I have an ebook called Big Shot, Hot Shot Volume 1 on your trucking authority. The link is going to be in the description. It'll pretty much tell you everything from if the taxes to different types of trailers and all sorts of things. It's a great book, 5-star reviews. Link will be in the description. Go get it. Yeah.
Beat me up, Scotty.
Me and her together, we just count it up. Money on my mind, I can't get enough. Don't play with my money, you don't want no beef. Cause I come from the bottom, I come from the street. When she first saw me, she say, who is that? When a man saw me, he called me a threat. I'm the one that really live with a rap. They ain't never did it, they ain't really trap. You say you want to be successful, but what's stopping you? Can't nothing stop you from being successful except for you. You standing in your own way. I came from the bottom. I ain't know nothing but the grind. You can't tell me nothing about that. I called the Bus and Basin Street Projects in Tallahassee, Florida. You hear me? I used to think $1 million would last me my whole life. I'd have made that and spent that. $1 million ain't enough.
There are hedge fund managers making $1 million an hour. You know, it's crazy, right? It's money everywhere. It's money in everything. I want to help you. Start your business today. Come join my royal family. Subscribe to Casino Is the Name.